time has come.
It has been a long while since I've shared anything on my game, and I have added a lot of stuff. So let's just get right into what I added in my cosmic first-person parkour game, COASTLINE. Alright, so I got a lot of beans to spill with y'all, and you guys have given me a lot of good feedback. So let's start out with this guy. I teased him a week ago, but I know what y'all are thinking. Is that Slenderman without clothes? No, but I will admit he does look scarier without clothes. Rather, this is the Watcher, the main antagonist of COASTLINE, and if you can't tell by his needly fingers and lack of an actual face, he is not a nice guy. Throughout the game, he will taunt you, and he will knock over parts of the level and change it just to get you to die faster. And in the demo, a lot of you pointed out that you have no idea what's going on in the story. So he's here to fix that. I got the entire story written out coherently, dialogue that is actually legible, and even a little in-game cinematic to kick off the story. But I'll save all that for you guys when you actually play it so I don't spoil it. The Watcher is probably the only 3D character I have modeled to any sort of success. But that's all he kind of is right now. He's really just a model in the game. His development will be continuously ongoing since he has to be in each level and I haven't made all the levels yet. But that being said, I think his actual modeling phase went pretty well and it took way longer than it should have. Now the entire reason he's in the game and he tries to make you trip up during a level is because he wants his dark creations to catch up to you and execute you. So let's talk about these fellas. I added 2 new enemies that really shake up the game. First of all, we have the small evil balls, and second we have the big evil wall. Now the point of these two is to chase the player during each level. I was playing COASTLINE with a few friends of mine, and I noticed that in the demo, which is still up on Steam by the way if you haven't tried it out, I actually left these dark brick guys with the cloning modifier on. So as you can imagine, eventually these dark bricks turned into this massive ball of flying spaghetti. Being chased by all of them was the most fun we had in COASTLINE, so I decided to make it the primary mechanic. So that's where these 2 enemies come from. First, the small evil balls chase you throughout the entire level, continually moving towards you no matter what. And when they catch up with you, they begin hugging you. During this hugging phase, they turn you into a cripple as they slowly get fat. If they hug you for too long, this red bar fills up, and as you can guess, when it's fully filled, you die. Like really die, like you don't respawn, you have to restart the entire level die. But don't worry, they aren't too fast, and they're not that hard to get out of when they start hugging you. On top of that, you got this big evil wall. Now unlike the first enemy, there's only one of these. This thing chases the player pretty much at a constant rate. It's really slow too, but it never stops moving. It's pretty much there to always force the player to move forward, and yes, it does the same cripple and death effect as the evil balls. Both of these enemies do so much for the game on top of just making it more fun. First off, y'all kept saying in the demo you hated the invisible walls. So now I took them out since you won't be able to even go out of bounds because you're constantly being chased. Secondly, these 2 new enemies actually incentivize the whole point of COASTLINE, which is to go fast. Overall, these enemies are a win-win-win. Since their goal is to cause you the most anxiety when they get near you, but you never end up really looking behind yourself in a game like this, it's pretty hard to know how far or close they are to you. So, I added these evil sounds when they get close, and I added this wonderful radar that shows where everything is relative to you, the player. It's not all that flashy right now, but I'll give it some visual pizzazz soon enough. After making the enemies so buff, I had to give the player some oomph to keep up. So here's what I gave y'all to give you some more fun. In all your wonderful feedback on the demo, there were 2 things pretty much everyone was saying. The slide slash crouch move sucks, and why is the dash move only moving horizontally? I have heard your cries and have answered them. The slide no longer sucks. I've changed it a whole bunch, and here's what I did. I took the hop move from your left mouse button and the awful slide move, and I fixed them up and I jammed them together. And let me be the first to say, it feels a whole lot better. Now, when you press the shift button, you do the little hop in the direction you're facing, kind of similar to earlier, but if you continue to hold shift, you remain in this hop state indicated by your arm going forward, and while in this state, if you touch the ground at any point, you will engage in a slide, clearly indicated by these new fancy feet. The sliding part also does not completely break every time you use it. It's much more responsive, and after letting go of the shift or slowing down, you transition smoothly back to normal. A few of you were also very disappointed with the actual speed of the player, and since this is a parkour game where momentum is like the main point, this new slide actually fixes a lot of that by actually increasing your movement when you hit the ground, and overall I just made the player naturally constantly increase as you're moving to give you guys a whole lot of zoom. Now the dash has much less of a big change. As I mentioned, you guys hated you could only go horizontally, so I made it go in all three-dimensional directions when using it. This added a lot of instant fun because now you can dash between multiple pickups and pull off some crazy dash angles. And speaking of pickups slash items, let's quickly chat about these new quote-unquote items I added. So first you might remember these dark bricks in the demo. They were somewhat important and kind of related to the story. Well, I threw those out in favor of this new and improved version. I'm calling this new version the Frozen, because in each of them there's a little creature frozen inside. There are story reasons, but as I said, I won't spoil the story. Now they act much more like these balls from Celeste, if you're familiar with that game. When you dash through them and shatter them, you get your dash ability back. But they no longer are like enemies, and they no longer follow you in some weird way. Something new I added, but that's very similar, are these wisps. They're similar because they also give you your dash back, however, you merely need to get close to them rather than actually dashing through them to pick them up. I'm going to add a lot more items and pickups similar to these, so if you have any ideas, please let me know and enlighten me. Now the last few things I would like to mention is what is still in development. As I mentioned, the Watcher, the main antagonist, he's still going under a lot of development with voice lines and animations and a few more mechanics he'll do. But you might have also noticed this big rectangular thing during the video. Well, now that I've actually written up a coherent story and plan, I have changed the transition slash end goal of each level to be this big portal-like thing. I'm going to use them at the end of every level to show where to go, and to show what the other level looks like on the other side. I think this prototype, even though it's not done at all and it looks kind of bad, shows generally what it will be like. Coming up here with all the crazy changes I added and the new chasing mechanic, I'm also going to do some reworks on the two levels that are currently up in the demo. But more interestingly, I'll be working on the next few levels, and let me be the first to say they are coming along great. Here's some concept art to give you a general idea of what they're going to be like. As I have said before, I want each level to be unique not only in art style but in gameplay, so I'll be adding some unique game mechanics to these levels as well. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to mention the demo up on Steam. I got a lot of feedback and wish lists, and I'm very thankful to you guys for all the support. Now that Coastline's trajectory is pretty much set in stone, I'll be continually adding more and more content for y'all. Sooner rather than later, when everything doesn't look like it's an alpha, I'll actually update the demo with the new version so y'all can play it and try it out. I have to thank you all again for all the support you've given me, and I just hope I can repay you all at the end of this when Coastline finally releases to even just give you a few hours of fun. Well, in order to actually release Coastline, I got a lot of work to do, so I'll have to see you guys later. Thank you all again so much for your support, and thank you for watching. Have y'all a great day.